Power has been a major issue in Nigeria and indeed Cross River State. Power generation and distribution has been on the exclusive list, making it strictly the business of the federal government. The generation and distribution of power has been moved to the concurrent list, thereby giving states the power to handle power supply. As a follow-up to this, the governor, Senator Basio, forwarded the Cross River State Electricity Bill to the legislature for deliberation, and the bill has been passed by the House. Stay tuned to our parliament as we bring you details. The Cross River State Electricity Bill was presented by the leader of the legislature, Right Honorable Francis Asukwo, at second reading on Tuesday, April 18, 2025. After its second reading, the bill was committed to the Committee on Power and NDDC for further legislative action. The Chairman, Committee on Power and NDDC and member representing Biase, Honorable Francis Ogban, presents the committee report to the House, highlighting its benefits to the people and the states.
Report of the House Committee on Power and NDDC and the Cross River State Electricity Bill 2025. Preamble, Mr. Speaker. A bill for the law to establish the Cross River State Electricity Regulatory Commission and for related matter was an executive bill sponsored by Right Honorable Francis Asukwo, member representing Odubani State Constituency and the leader of the 10th Assembly. The bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 18 March 2025, while its second reading was on Tuesday, 18 April 2025. Thereafter, it was committed to the House Committee on Power and NDDC for detailed legislative consideration and to report back to the House. Committee approach. Mr. Speaker, in view of the importance of this bill and in line with the legislative practice, the committee met at once and agreed to hold a public hearing on the bill on Friday 9th, May 2025 at the mini auditorium of the House of Assembly complex at 10 a.m. Accordingly, invitations were extended to stakeholders, civil society organizations, and the members of the public through radio announcement. Specifically, invitations letter to copy the bill were sent to the following stakeholders: Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice, Commissioner, Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy, Director General, State Electrification Agency, Commissioner, Ministry of Finance, Economic Advisor and Vice Chairman, State Planning Commission, Commissioner, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, Commissioner, Ministry of Local Government Affairs, Chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Calabar Branch, Branch Manager, PHED Calabar, Chairman, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Zonal Office Calabar, Chairman, Nigerian Societies of Engineers Calabar, Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Calabar Branch, the Executive Secretary, Civil Societies Organization. The public hearing was held on schedule and had the following persons in attendance. See the table below, Mr. Speaker.
After the report, the Speaker, Right Honorable Herbert Ayambem, explains the importance of power to the economy.
And thereby lies within the purview of federal government to generate, operate and transmit this power supply to the states that makes up the country. But to a large extent, when the law was passed, as at 9th February in 2024, that part of power supply was yanked off the exclusive list, and then given to state government. It falls within the purview of state government now to generate power and supply, transmit to citizens of Cross River State. And so the issue of most of the states and local government not having electricity is no more the concern of federal government. It has become the concern of state government to generate power and supply to the local government, especially those of us from ECOM, which is the commercial nerve center, but yet we don't have any sort of power supply. Our people have lived as though we were still in the medieval age where people could rarely dress or have power supply. This is a welcome development because it will allow for state government to actually look into the suffering of the ECOM people and a lot of other local governments that are not privileged to have power supply. But then I still have to thank His Excellency because even before this period, he's been very proactive in generating power supply, especially you can see the issue of Bekwara local government that has been almost 2 decades without power supply, that state government has swiftly swung into action, correcting all and ensuring that the Bekwara local government is not Yantom National Grid anymore. They are reconnected, and so it's ECOM, and so it is a welcome development. And then members too, I will ask that we support our voices very strongly to ensure that this bill is passed into law, because every facet of development, every facet of economic growth is tied down to electricity. If we have proper electricity generation in the country, even the tariffs we pay, there's not one part of the economy that is not driven by power. There's no one part. Beginning from flour mill to what do they call it? The recharge card we load in our phones, the airtime we load in our phone to data and all of that will largely be crashed down once we have electricity. Of course, we go to every mast, MTN mast, Glo or Airtel, you realize that the people are running their generators day in, day out. But with proper power supply, all of these that we've been seeking to be crashed will definitely be crashed when we have proper power supply. And so the economy will be largely boosted. So the House should lend your voices and ensure that this bill is given speedy passage, please.
Members also contributed to the bill, saying that with the generation and distribution of power in the states, the economy will be expanded and the livelihood of the people improved.
I would like to drive your attention to section 110, that's 110. Title, willful and unlawful damage to meters, electricity, apparatus, etc. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I rise today is to say that the amount that has been prescribed here is very small. Mr. Speaker, we've had this issue here in the House about motions and promotions about vandalization in the electric sector. In fact, that is the major reason why most people don't have power. The amount of money that the government spends in installing substations and building substations, and then someone goes there and then takes out an armored cable and things like that, and then the armored cable is more than 500,000. Most of those armored cables are like 2.5 or even more at this point.
Listed here as importance of electricity to our various communities. Then places like Akan-Patu State Constituency is a dead zone. Akan-Patu, I don't know the entire Akan-Patu because Mr. Speaker has mentioned that electricity in Akan-Patu 1 or in Akan-Patu, I think the government has started something somewhere in Akan-Patu 1. But I want to say that for more than 20 years, there's no electricity in Akan-Patu. Over 20 years, even as chairman of Akan-Patu, there's no electricity. I've been in the system as a councillor, from councillor to secretary of council to chairman of Akan-Patu local government. I never ever, I've not been able. There's no time I saw light from the national grid. And that means that if from 2010 that I've been a councillor up to date, this is about 15 years, there's no electricity in Akan-Patu. If a local government that generates resources, no road, no light, no water, then we are not supposed to be living. But I thank God that today there's a bill to solve this problem. So I can't believe people are going to be happy. And I believe with this bill, as it's going to be passed and accepted by the governor of Cross River State, our very dear governor, the people's mantra, the people's first governor. And I now believe that something is going to be done.
Mr. Speaker, let me first start by thanking His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State, Senator King Bassey Edeh-Otu. Mr. Speaker, the importance of this bill cannot be overemphasized, because even in the creation, the first thing God did is say, let there be light. And there was light. Mr. Speaker, if I tell you what those of us on the north have been suffering in the past 20 to 30 years, we pay our electricity bill to Port Harcourt, but we get light. It's the east, as in Ebonyi State, that supply the north, the parts of Cross River, with light. So they treat us as if we are less citizens. They treat us with disdain, as if we are not even part of this country. If you are traveling from Abakaliki entering the north, from Abakaliki, if you enter Yehe, you will notice that the voltage from Yehe, from between Yehe and Abakaliki are dropped. If you proceed from Yehe to Okpoma, they will drop the voltage. From Okpoma to Ukuku, they will drop the voltage. Before you get to Igoli, even the water that didn't have light, it was better that they never had light for that number of years. So we have suffered. And God has blessed Cross River in a manner that we have all the facilities to generate this power. Ranging from Obududan. Check the entire central stretch has enough river where is there a Bokun waterfall or the one that cut through come Obubra and up to Bia. So we have the facilities already. And our previous governor even had the passion. But because before now, this was not in the concurrent list, so they were limited. Because if you see the facilities our previous governors have tracked to the state, ranging from this power plant here in Dupani to the one in Ogoja and a few other places, you see that already they were determined to do something. But now that we have been given this privilege to now domesticated this and the bill has been removed, electricity has been removed from the exclusive list to concurrent list, I can tell you that in no distant time, once this bill is domesticated, the whole entire Cross River State will be illuminated.
It's very important because it has to do with a circumstance that will put certain indices in place to expand our economy and make it robust enough for us as politicians to be able to reach out to our electorates in order for us to change the fortune of our people. Mr. Speaker, you know very well that without power, which is electricity, there is no business that is going to do well. I'm happy that I'm the one that has been given an opportunity based on what we just said now, to even be the one to speak in this circumstance. That even as a legislative arm or as government, we can't do well with the poor state of electricity that we're experiencing. Mr. Speaker, the world all over, there is no nation that has made success that has taken electricity for granted. I can speak with all amount of vehemence, Mr. Speaker, that the reason why our nation, Nigeria, has not done well economically, in spite of the enormous resources that we have, it is because we have refused to do the needful in terms of budgetary provisions in the aspect of power sector. You see that things are going to be done seamlessly. For want of time, Mr. Speaker, like you've already won, let me, for purposes of record, align a few factors as indices that are going to improve on our economy as a result of the provision of electricity. Mr. Speaker, industrialization is one of the aspects. It can't do well without with this fluctuating, eclectic nature of our power situation. The world all over knows it.
it has affected our nation and it's affecting our state at this time. Mr. Speaker, even the agricultural sector won't do well. The hospitality development will not do well. Mr. Speaker, it will increase productivity when electricity is put in place. The tourism promotion aspect, which Perseverance of Cross River is known for, will not achieve the needed expectations as those goals are being set for. Mr. Speaker, it will attract foreign investments. When the foreign investors realize that we have steady electricity, they would like to invest in our state. Mr. Speaker, finally, it will even improve quality education because this time around, everything has gone digital.
The House dissolved into the Committee of the Whole and considered the bill before returning to the Cross River State House of Assembly and took the third reading and passage of the bill.
Administration of the Cross River State Electricity Market Sections 4 to 6 agreed to. Part 3, Establishment, Composition, Functions and Power of the Cross River State Electricity Regulatory Commissions Sections 7 to 25 agreed to. Part 4, Sources of Funds and Accounts of the Commission Sections 26 to 31 agreed to. Part 5, Licenses and Permits Section 32 to 57 agreed to. As amended, agreed to. Part 6, Cross River State Electricity Markets Sections 58 to 75 agreed to. Part 7, Cross River State Electrification Agency Section 76 to Section 88 agreed to. Part 8, Management and Staff of the Agency Sections 89 to 93 agreed to. Part 9, Funds and Accounts of the Agency Section 94 to Section 98 agreed to. Part 10, State Electrification Fund Section 99 to Section 107 agreed to. Part 11, Offences and Penalties Section 108 to 121 as amended agreed to. Part 12, Miscellaneous Provisions Section 122 to Section 124 agreed to. Part 13, Savings, Transitional and Repeal Provisions Section 125 to Section 129 agreed to. Short Title Section 130 agreed to. Schedule agreed to. This is the report of Mr. Speaker while seated in the Committee of the Whole. It's a true reflection of Mr. Speaker's report as what transpired in the Committee of the Whole.
The Chairman, Committee on Power and NDDC, Honorable Francis Ogban, in an interview, throws more light on the bill and what the state stands to benefit.
Actually, before this time, anything power comes from the federal government. But now, every state has been given the opportunity to take control of their power. And His Excellency saw it, deemed it wise, and acted promptly and came up with this executive bill. Of a truth, this bill was sponsored by the leader of the House, Right Honorable Francis Ekweyon, member representing Odukbani State Constituency. And of course, it was later handed over to the Committee of Power and NDDC, which I chair. And then we swung into action and did due diligence to it. And of course, in the floor of the House today, all members saw the need why this bill should be passed into law, because the benefit of electricity in the state cannot be overemphasized. Actually, as this bill has been passed into law and are waiting for His Excellency to assent the bill so that we can start working on it as a state. Now, when this is done, there will be so many benefits of this bill in the state. Actually, we all know that when there's any state that there is light, industrial revolution springs up, industrialization comes up. Now, when there's industrialization in the states, a lot of people will be gainfully employed. Our youth will no more be found wanting in all this crime and all those stuff and so on. so many investors will come into the state to invest, and then when that is done, the state will expand. The state that the state will be developing. Also, that in agriculture, now when there is good power supply in the state, agricultural revolution equally takes up immediately. Now in the area of processing, now we can all know that if a farmer goes about planting his crops and all that and does not add value to it, he makes little money. But once a farmer starts adding value to his produce, he makes more money. And now, what makes a farmer to add value to his product is power, is electricity. And as such, when there is power, agricultural revolution springs up very fast, because all the farmers will be forced to start adding value to their produce. Also, we all know that the Cross River State is a state of hospitality. When there is good power, hotels springs up. Things like that will just start coming up, and in summary, so many youth will be gainfully employed. But then we looked into this bill, even though when we went to Abuja and saw our own draft bill, and they even commended Cross River State that our bill is the best so far among some of the states that have passed it into law. And they equally asked us to go in, to look into it critically and to dot our I's and cross our T's, which we have done. For today, we have equally looked at it very well and said, okay, in the area of captive generation, we all know that the captive generation is a power generated for yourself. Now, you can own a 40 kVA generator in your house, use it to generate your own power. You can equally own a 300 kVA generator in your house to generate power for yourself. Now, there's a law in this, there's a section in this bill that they equally says those generating, those involved in a captive generation should be paying permit to the government. Now, we now looked at it very well. If we allow our people to start paying permits to the government for generating light for themselves, then that means we just ended up unbundling what is in the exclusive list to the state and to start suffering our people. So we now looked at it critical and now said, okay, now some people can generate up to 200 kilowatt for themselves and then use it for their own private use, not for business. Now, we can't expect such people to start paying to the government. So we have to increase it that before we start paying anything to the government, at least let it be that you are generating power to do business, or you are generating power to gain more profit. Then if you are generating power to make profit for yourself or generating power to do business, then definitely you have to pay government revenue. But for those generating power for their own personal use, you don't need to pay. So that is one of those things that almost every member today talked about in the chambers. And at the end of the day, we all came out smiling happily, because the governor of the state, his major concern is to reduce stress, to reduce pressure on the people he's governing.
With the passage of the Cross River State Electricity Bill, the problem of power supply will be a thing of the past and the state's economy boosted. That's where we draw the curtains this week. Thanks for watching. I remain Esiana Wanene.